Today's video is sponsored by A Ton in the Oven, big and tall baby clothes. Yes, if you have an oversized infant and you need some larger clothes, check out A Ton in the Oven for all of your oversized baby needs. So, before we go any further, I just want to make some corrections from the last video. Starting off at the back of the engine here is this piece here, this component. It turns out when I filmed this the last time, my brain and my mouth were having a little bit of a disagreement and they weren't working together. My brain was telling my mouth to say one thing and my mouth was saying, F you, I'm going to say what I want. And in regards what that was I was talking about them because of the way that this supercharger is set up, that we had to remove the generator, and I had put it on the back here. First off, the first mistake was I called that generator a starter. I don't know why. I know this engine. I've worked on these. My friend has one, and I know the parts. All right, but for some reason my mouth wasn't cooperating. Now, the reason I took the generator and put it back here is because some of the photos that I looked at, the photo I was looking at, showed the engine setup with the supercharger, and it had a very big back end, and it looked like that was the generator. It turns out it wasn't. It was the way the actual supercharger set up. It had a big back end like this, whereas this kit, it's short. So I just assumed, and of course I made an ass of me. Not you, but me. So that was that. So I left that on there for now. I think it might be too much and it won't fit in it's going to hit the firewall, but we'll see. So looking back at the parts for this expansion kit for the flathead, I found that it did come with a generator. So here it is here, the generator. So I printed a bunch of them out just in case I couldn't get one good. And then installed that. I had to take off the belts that I had done. And it turns out really I probably didn't have to, because if you look, this is almost still a straight line. Not very accurate because it should be at an angle, coming upwards and then over. But who cares? You're not going to see it. Once this gets in the car, you'll never see it. But it was keeping me up at night knowing that I didn't have the generator in and I needed to put it in place. So that's what we did. So the generator, not starter, is now in place. And I reran the belts and I'm happy with that. So that's where we are. So let's get on to the next part of the video. All right, so welcome back, and we are on step 3 of our bootlegger build. Step 1, of course, was the engine. We did the engine and it's ready to go. Just put that aside for right now. Actually, the engine's just missing one thing, and that's the fuel pump for the back. We have to put that on, but it's in a bag here because they made it chrome in the kit. So we put it in the bag with some easy off oven cleaner. As you can see, it ate away all the chrome, just black parts, which is good. We'll put that on later. I skipped the interior for right now and jumped to the wheels. As you can see here, the wheels are pretty straightforward for the most part, but they did give us a little bit of a problem. I got one wheel. I fought with one wheel and was able to get that assembled. The rest, I just couldn't get the back pieces to seat properly. So what I ended up having to do is I had to take my Dremel with this bit here, and it turns out this is just a scotch bigger than the wheel itself. So I just took it and rammed it into the hole and made both ends of the wheel a little bit wider to accept the front and the back halves of the wheel, and it worked just fine with no residual effects or anything like that. It worked out pretty good. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just trying to make it a little interesting. I put one hubcap on so far. I'm not sure if I'm going to do all the hubcaps on, or maybe a couple off, just to give it a little bit more character. And of course, we have to do the tread too. We're gonna dirty them up, scuff them up, and dirty them up. But right now, that's where we are. I also left the trim rings off. A car like this, a friend of mine's got a 39 Ford, and he's got the trim rings also, and they're very delicate. And I could see a car like this, those things wouldn't last long, so that I chose not to put them on the car. Just the hubcaps, if anything, again, just to give it a little bit of character. But I think it's going to look pretty cool. We got to weather these up too, put some dirt on them and everything, so that's where we are with that. Next is step 4, which is the chassis. Move this out of the way. So we started with the chassis. We spray painted it black, flat black, and then I went in between the railings and stuff, the frame rails and stuff, with a dark charcoal gray, and left, just roughly, just filled in the main part of it, left the ridges around it the black, and then I went back afterwards with a lighter gray again, same thing, and lightened it up some more. The car, in my mind, isn't going to be a rusted out Hulk. It's just going to be a worn car. So we're trying to add some wear to it by the different grays and tones. And then what I did is I took some burnt sienna. Okay, burnt sienna. Made it into a wash and then coated everything and gave it a nice wash. Then assembled the parts, and it gives it, I think it's got a nice worn look. Not over the top look, but nicely worn look. So there, that piece is ready to accept the wheels. And then I think next is we're going to take a step backwards now and go back to step 1 and start working on the interior.